Ever feel like you're drowning in cybersecurity news?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, it's like every time you turn around,
Lightning.
there's some new threat,
Right. Yeah.
some new vulnerability, some new scam.
Absolutely.
You want to stay informed, of course.
Oh, have to.
But who has the time to decode all the jargon?
Yeah, it can be overwhelming.
Well, that's exactly why we're here today.
That's right.
We've been digging through the latest reports from Malwarebytes, Fortune, Forbes, Infosecurity magazine, and Cybersecurity Dive.
Wow, covering all the bases.
All covering the week of March 24th to the 30th, 2025.
Okay.
And we're going to break it all down for you.
Yeah.
Whether you're just starting to dip your toes into the world of online security,
Right.
or you're a seasoned cybersecurity pro.
The need-to-know stuff.
This deep dive is for you.
For everyone, really.
So buckle up, because we're about to dive into the week's most important cybersecurity news.
Let's do it.
What really struck me going through all this is just how diverse, how varied the threats are. We're talking everything from attacks that are targeting like our everyday internet use to potential cracks in the foundations of like cloud computing.
Yeah.
It really emphasizes, I think, just how interconnected our digital world is and how crucial it is to stay informed.
It is.
So let's jump right in.
All right.
There's a vulnerability that's affecting most browsers.
Oh, wow.
I mean, think about that for a second.
That's a lot.
The software that you're probably using right now
To listen to this.
to listen to us.
Yeah.
And apparently it's already being exploited in targeted attacks.
Not good.
So this is serious stuff.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Now, we don't have all the super technical details about this specific vulnerability from the sources that we looked at,
You're right.
but the fact that it impacts most browsers,
Most of them.
that tells us something important.
It does, yeah.
It tells us that attackers are constantly testing, probing, pushing the software that we rely on the most.
Our everyday tools.
Our everyday tools.
Yeah.
Browsers are like our gateway to the internet.
Our window to the world.
So it makes sense that they're a prime target.
They are, absolutely.
This is a real reminder, I think, that keeping your browser updated, it's not just like a chore you can put off.
Right.
It's fundamental to your security.
It really is.
Okay, so moving on from browsers, let's talk about scams.
Okay.
Because they are getting a lot more sophisticated, thanks in part to AI. Google actually issued a warning about this.
Interesting.
And they specifically highlighted some sneaky tactics, like what scammers are using, like
What are they calling it?
landing cage cloaking.
Oh, right. Right.
This is where things start to get really like,
Tricky.
yeah, tricky and a little unsettling.
Absolutely.
So Google's warning, to me, it signals a pretty big change, a big leap.
A big leap in what?
In how sophisticated scams are becoming. AI is now enabling these cyber criminals to create these super convincing impersonations and fraudulent offers.
So it's not just the Nigerian prince anymore?
Not just the Nigerian prince anymore.
Okay.
We're talking fake investment opportunities that sound totally legit.
Right.
Or bogus giveaways that look completely real.
So how are they doing this?
Well, AI can generate realistic text.
Oh, okay.
It can mimic voices.
So you can't even trust your ears?
I can't trust your ears.
Wow.
These scams are way more deceptive
Way more
than your typical phishing email with all the typos and the bad grammar.
Right.
It's a whole new level of social engineering powered by AI.
So it's not just about spotting bad grammar anymore.
Not anymore.
Got it.
And then there's this landing page cloaking.
Right. Right.
It sounds like something out of a magic show.
It does, kind of.
What's the trick?
Well, it's essentially digital deception.
Okay.
Imagine this. Scammers, they show one version of a website to Google's automated checks.
Right.
Something that looks clean, harmless. But then when you, the actual user, click on the link, you're presented with a completely different website.
Oh.
And that second website, it's often malicious.
Okay.
So this allows them to basically slip past security filters and deliver all sorts of nasty stuff like scareware.
Oh, yeah.
Which, you know, tries to trick you into downloading even more harmful software.
Right, right.
It's like a bait and switch for the internet age.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
That's super sneaky.
It is.
It makes you wonder, like, can you trust anything online anymore?
I know.
So what did Google say we should do?
Yeah, what's the advice?
To protect ourselves from these AI-powered illusions.
Right.
Well, their advice boils down to practicing really good online habits.
Yeah.
They say always look closely at the URL before you click anything.
Right.
Then double-check the landing page itself.
Uh-huh.
Make sure it actually matches what you were expecting.
Right.
If something feels off, it probably is.
Yeah, trust your gut.
They also recommend turning on enhanced protection in Chrome.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Which adds an extra layer of defense.
It does. It does.
So that's good practical advice that everyone can use.
Right.
But it really does feel like a constant arms race, doesn't it?
It does.
Between, like, the good guys and the bad guys.
Between the defenders and the attackers.
Yeah, exactly.
Always trying to stay one step ahead.
And we actually heard from a security awareness expert on this.
Oh, who's that?
He emphasized that this is like an ongoing battle. Dr. Martin Kramer from KnowBe4.
I've heard of him.
He basically said, you know, cyber criminals are always evolving their methods.
Right.
And security defenders have to keep pace.
Yeah. You got to stay ahead of the curve.
You got to stay. Absolutely.
And this constant innovation on both sides is exactly why it's so important for all of us to stay informed about these changing tactics.
Keep learning.
Keep learning.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about something that might sound a bit more technical.
Okay.
But it actually has the potential to affect a huge number of websites and applications.
Okay.
There's a vulnerability in Next.js.
Next.js. Okay.
So for those who aren't like coding wizards,
right?
What exactly is Next.js?
Yeah, what is it?
And why should we care about this?
I'm listening.
Well, think of Next.js as a toolkit that web developers use to build modern websites and web applications in a more efficient way.
So it helps them build things faster.
Yeah, it provides a structure and a set of tools that streamlines the whole development process.
Streamlines it.
And because Next.js is used so widely,
a vulnerability in Next.js can have a real ripple effect.
A ripple effect.
It can potentially impact countless websites and all the people who use them.
So it's kind of like a foundational problem.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
This incident really highlights the importance of the software supply chain.
What do you mean by that?
We rely on these fundamental building blocks.
Okay.
And if there's a weakness in one of them, it can create a lot of risk.
A lot of risk.
For a lot of people.
Got it.
So this specific weakness, it was a big deal.
Was it?
The UK's National Cybersecurity Centre, the NCSC.
I've heard of them.
They issued an urgent warning about it.
Oh, wow.
That's never a good sign.
No, it's not.
They flagged a critical authorization bypass vulnerability.
So what does that mean exactly?
In simple terms.
Yeah, in simple terms.
Okay, imagine a building with a security checkpoint.
Okay.
You need a key card to get in. This vulnerability allowed attackers to basically send a special signal.
A special signal.
That tricked the system into thinking they were already inside.
So they bypassed the checkpoint.
They bypassed the checkpoint.
On a key card.
No key card needed.
Right.
And that gave them unauthorized access to sensitive areas.
To sensitive areas.
To the good stuff.
Okay.
And the fact that hackers had already figured out, knew how to exploit this, made the warning even more urgent.
It did, yeah.
So how did this, like, digital backdoor work?
Yeah, how did it work?
It had something to do with, like, an internal tag.
It did.
Right.
Next.js uses this internal header called X-middleware subrequest.
X-middleware subrequest. Now, this is normally used to prevent a situation where the system gets stuck in this endless loop. Processing the same request over and over again.
So it's a safety mechanism.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. But the vulnerability allowed attackers to manipulate this system.
Manipulate it.
Yeah. So think of a web application that's constantly checking if a request has already been processed to avoid getting stuck.
Makes sense.
This special X-middleware subrequest header is how it keeps track.
It's like a marker.
It is, yeah. But the flaw allowed malicious requests to essentially bypass the normal security checks.
So they skipped the line.
They did.
Okay.
The middleware, which often handles things like verifying your login, was completely bypassed.
So were specific versions of Next.js affected?
They were, yeah.
So if someone is using Next.js, should they be panicking right now?
Well, a wide range of versions were affected.
Okay.
All 13.x versions before 13.5.9.
Okay.
All 14.x before 14.2.25. All 15.x before 15.2.3.
Right.
And even older versions from 11.1.4.
Older versions, okay.
Up to, but not including, 12.3.5.
So quite a few.
Quite a few, yeah.
If you or your organization is using Next.js,
right,
within those ranges,
as in those ranges,
updating is absolutely crucial.
It is, yeah.
The good news,
What's the good news?
Is that the Next.js team, they released a fix.
Oh, good.
On March 22nd.
Okay.
After the vulnerability was responsibly reported.
Responsibly reported code.
Back in February.
Back in February.
So the official identifier for this is CVE 2025 29927.
CVE 2025 29927.
That's the one to watch out for.
Okay.
So step one, update.
That's 8, yeah.
But what if updating isn't something that can happen right away?
Right.
Like, what if you can't just snap your fingers and update everything?
Yeah, what do you do that?
Was there a temporary fix?
There was.
Okay, what was it?
The Next.js team recommended a temporary workaround.
Okay.
Blocking any incoming requests from external users that contain that X middleware subrequest header.
The X middleware subrequest header.
Yeah.
Okay.
This acts as a kind of temporary shield.
Like a Band-Aid?
Yeah, like a Band-Aid.
Okay.
Preventing the exploit from working,
okay.
It's not a perfect solution.
Right.
It's really just a short-term measure.
Right.
Until you can do a full update.
Until you can update.
Yeah.
Got it.
Now, security researchers at Rapid7,
okay.
They pointed out that the actual impact of this vulnerability could vary. Depending on how heavily an organization relies on this middleware for authentication.
Okay.
If it's the primary gatekeeper,
right,
the risk is much higher.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Layers of security, always the best approach.
Always.
Okay, let's move on to something that could raise eyebrows.
What's that?
For anyone who uses cloud services.
Okay.
There were claims of a pretty big breach.
A breach?
At Oracle Cloud.
Oracle Cloud.
With a hacker allegedly trying to sell...
To sell what?
Millions of user records.
Millions.
This is pretty alarming stuff.
It is, yeah.
It is. So what happened?
Well, a hacker known as Rose87168.
Rose87168, okay.
Claimed to have compromised Oracle Cloud.
Okay.
And was offering over 6 million records for sale.
6 million?
It's a real reminder, I think, that even the biggest cloud providers aren't immune to security incidents.
Yeah, no one's immune.
No one's immune.
No one is.
And that having a layered security approach, even on the consumer side, is super important.
It's paramount, yeah.
But security researchers, they seem to back up the hackers' claims.
What did they find?
Well, researchers at CloudSeek, they provided some supporting evidence.
Evidence of what?
They said they were able to confirm the breach.
They confirmed it.
By identifying that the hacker had exploited a vulnerability in Oracle Cloud's login system.
The login system.
Yeah.
Okay.
They even pinpointed the specific login server involved.
Okay.
Login.us2.oraclecloud.com.
Login.us2.oraclecloud.com.
That's the one.
Okay.
So pretty specific.
And what kind of information was stolen?
Yeah, what did they get?
This sounds like, you know...
sensitive stuff.
The kind of data that could cause a lot of damage.
It does, yeah.
It does.
Well, according to CloudSec,
the
stolen data included single sign-on credentials.
Single sign-on.
Those are the keys you use to access multiple services with one login.
Makes sense.
It also included lightweight directory access protocol passwords.
LDAP passwords.
Or LDAP passwords, yeah.
Okay.
Those are often used for managing user access within organizations.
Oh, internal stuff.
Yeah, internal stuff.
Okay.
They also got OAuth 2 keys.
OAuth 2 keys.
Which are used to grant applications limited access to user accounts.
Okay.
And even broader tenant data related to cloud accounts.
Tenant data, okay.
This is the kind of information that could give an attacker really wide-ranging access.
The sensitive stuff.
To really sensitive resources, yeah.
So CloudSec, they actually had an idea about how this breach might have happened.
How did they?
What were they thinking?
They suspected either a zero-day vulnerability.
The 0 days is vulnerability.
Which is a flaw that was previously unknown to the vendor.
Right.
Or a misconfiguration in the OAuth 2 authentication process.
A misconfiguration, okay.
This really highlights, I think, the complexities of securing these vast cloud environments and how even small weaknesses can be exploited.
They can be.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just CloudSec who was concerned.
Oh, who else?
Another security expert weighed in on this.
Okay.
He seemed pretty convinced that a breach had actually occurred.
Who was this?
Jake Williams.
Jake Williams, okay.
From ENS Research and Hunter Strategy.
Okay.
He said he had little doubt.
Little doubt, okay.
That a compromise had happened.
Wow.
He pointed to evidence of data being uploaded.
Uploaded where?
To the main web directory.
To the main web directory.
Of an active login server.
An active login server.
Not like some old forgotten system.
Right, right.
Which is pretty concerning.
It is, yeah.
So this whole Oracle Cloud situation, even with their denial,
right.
I think it's a big wake-up call.
It is, yeah.
About cloud security.
Cloud security, yeah.
So before we wrap up,
there
were a few other notable security stories this week.
Oh, right.
That we wanted to touch on.
Okay, what else happened?
We saw reports of DeepSeek users being targeted with fake sponsored ads on Google.
No, fake ads, okay.
That were actually delivering malware.
Oh, sneaky.
This is a classic reminder to be very careful about clicking on any online ads, even if they look legitimate.
Even if they look real.
Even if they look real.
Okay.
There was also a phishing campaign.
A phishing campaign?
Targeting Booking.com.
Booking.com.
For using fake CAPTCHA challenges.
Fake CAPT chases.
To trick hotel staff into downloading malicious software.
So they were targeting a specific industry.
Yeah, exactly. These types of attacks often target specific industries with tailored scams.
Tailored scams, okay.
And it wasn't just everyday users being targeted.
Oh, no.
Even security experts.
Security experts, too.
Aren't immune.
Oh, wow.
Troy Hunt. A well-known name in the cybersecurity world.
I know him.
He reported being hit by a phishing attack.
Wow.
So this shows that these attacks are getting incredibly sophisticated.
Yeah, they are.
And anyone can fall victim.
Anyone can fall victim.
On a more personal and sobering note, there was a story about a man whose life was completely upended.
Upended by what?
By identity theft.
Oh, no.
After his ID was stolen.
Okay.
This highlights, I think, the very real consequences, the devastating human consequences of cybercrime.
It goes beyond just money.
It goes way beyond financial losses.
Yeah, it does.
We also saw 23andMe.
23andMe, okay.
Filing for bankruptcy.
Oh, wow.
Which, of course, brings to mind their big data breach from last year.
Yeah, that was a big one.
The advice going around right now.
What's the advice?
Is that if you're a 23andMe user, you should probably consider deleting your data.
Deleting your data.
As precaution.
Just to be safe.
Just to be safe.
Makes sense.
Given their past security issues.
Right.
That seems like a smart move.
It does, yeah.
On a slightly less concerning note, it seems that Google accidentally deleted.
Deleted what?
Some users' location history data in Maps.
Oh, wow.
So hopefully that was just a temporary glitch and the data will be recovered.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
We also saw an interesting discussion.
Some discussion about what?
From Malwarebytes.
Malwarebytes, okay.
Looking at the privacy trade-offs when moving from WhatsApp
to Signal. Okay.
You know, it's a constant balancing act between convenience and security in the world of messaging apps.
In the messaging world, yeah.
And then in a somewhat telling sign of the times, Malwarebytes announced
what?
That they're no longer going to be posting
what?
April Fool's Day content.
No more April Fool's jokes.
No more April Fool's jokes.
Okay.
Because of the huge amount of misinformation that's already online.
So they don't want to add to the noise.
They don't want to add to the noise.
Yeah, I get it.
It really says something, I think, about our current digital landscape.
It does. It does.
And to round out the quick hits, Fortune highlighted.
Highlighted what?
That despite the increased focus on AI security risks, hackers are still finding AI models surprisingly easy to attack.
Oh, wow.
So it seems like securing AI itself is going to be a major challenge going forward.
It's a big challenge.
And Forbes mentioned that Google confirmed some pretty significant
what?
AI-powered security protections for Pixel users.
For Pixel users.
Although the specifics weren't detailed in the articles we saw.
Not a lot of detail.
Not a lot of detail.
Yeah.
So all of this really paints a picture.
It does.
Of a constantly evolving threat landscape.
Always changing.
Attackers are relentless.
They are.
In their pursuit of vulnerabilities.
Right.
Whether they're in widely used software, cloud infrastructure, or even in exploiting new technologies like AI.
Absolutely.
So for you, our listener,
okay,
what's the key takeaway from all of this?
Yeah, what's the bottom line?
Why should you care about this week's cybersecurity news?
Right.
And more importantly, what should you be doing about it?
What can we do?
Well, the overarching message here
What is it?
is that cyber threats, they're not static.
They're not.
They're dynamic.
Yeah.
And they're increasingly sophisticated.
Absolutely.
They're targeting not just technical weaknesses,
Right.
but also human behavior.
Human behavior, too.
Staying informed
Okay.
is your first and most important line of defense.
It is.
Being proactive, both in your personal online habits and within your organization.
Okay.
It's not optional anymore.
It's not.
It's essential.
It really is.
So let's break that down
Okay.
into some concrete actions.
Right.